Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
Okay, so nothing ruins your day quite like that check engine light popping on, right? It's stressful. And if you've got a Chevy that's throwing you the code P24A0, well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break down exactly what that code means and what your car is trying to tell you. No jargon, just straight answers. So you plug in the little code reader and boom, P4A0. What on earth does that mean? It can feel pretty confusing, I get it, but stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to understand what's potentially going on and, more importantly, what your next move should be. All right, first things first, what is this P24A0 warning? Here's the key thing to get right away. It's not a final diagnosis. Think of it more like a big flashing arrow from your car's computer, pointing us in the general direction of the problem. And this is absolutely crucial. P24A0 doesn't mean part X is broken. It's not that simple. It's more of a general alert. It's telling us there's a problem somewhere in the emission system, and it's specifically pointing toward the diesel particulate filter system, the DPF. So this code, it's really just the first clue in our little mystery. Okay, before we get any deeper into the weeds with P24A0, let's take a quick step back. We need to talk about what an OBD2 trouble code even is. Because, understanding this one little term is going to make this whole process make a lot more sense. So an OBD2 code is basically a standardized language that all modern cars speak. I love this analogy. It's like going to the doctor and saying, "Doc, my stomach hurts." That's a huge clue, right? It tells the doctor where to start looking, but it's not the final diagnosis. That's exactly what this code is for a mechanic. It's the symptom that kicks off the real investigation. So let's just hammer this point home. What is P24A0? It is a starting point. It is a clue. What it isn't, though, is a direct order to just go replace some random part. This isn't a simple DIY weekend fix. This is one of those times where you really need a proper diagnosis to avoid wasting time and money. Okay, so if the code is just the first clue, who are our suspects? What are the potential culprits that could be triggering this whole thing? Let's run down the usual suspects that a good mechanic is going to put in their lineup. Now, almost all the common causes for P24A0 circle back to that diesel particulate filter system we talked about. So what could it be? Well, it could be the filter itself is just clogged up, or maybe the DPF pressure sensor has gone bad. It could even be something as simple or as tricky as a leak in one of the sensor hoses or some damaged wiring that's sending screwy signals to the computer. And this is exactly why you can't just ignore this light and hope it goes away. You see, the severity here is all over the map. On one hand, it could be a relatively minor fix, like a cheap little hose that has a leak. But on the other hand, it could be a sign that your DPF is seriously clogged, and that's a problem that needs immediate attention before it leads to some really expensive engine damage. So yeah, without a real diagnosis, you're basically gambling with your engine. All right, so we get it. There's a list of possible problems, but how does a mechanic actually figure out which one it is? How did they go from this one little code to the actual root cause? Let's walk through what that professional diagnostic process looks like. First off, a good mechanic doesn't just start throwing parts at the problem. They don't guess. They'll start by hooking up their specialized equipment to confirm the code and look at the live data. Then they get their eyes on it, a full visual inspection. They're going to check out that DPF sensor, all the wiring connected to it, the hoses, looking for anything that's cracked, loose, or just plain wrong. And only after they've pinpointed the real problem will they perform the repair. Then they'll clear the code and test it to make sure the fix actually worked. It's a method, not madness. And this is a point worth repeating because it's so important. Your mechanic needs to use specialized diagnostic equipment here. You know that little code reader you can buy online for 20 bucks? It just gives you the headline. A professional scan tool, that gives them the whole story, with all the data and details they need to make the right call. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. What the code is, why it might be happening, and how Pro will figure it out. So let's boil it all down. What does all this actually mean for you and your car? What's the bottom line? Honestly, it really is this simple. When you see code P24A0, it means your car's computer has sniffed out a potential problem in the diesel particulate filter system. And your next step? It's just as simple. Get your car to a professional mechanic so they can do a proper diagnosis. That's it. That's the whole game plan. Look, the whole point of this isn't to turn you into a master mechanic overnight. The goal is to make you an informed car owner, because now you actually get it. You know what system the code is pointing to, you know what the possible cause is, and you know what the mechanic should be doing to figure it out. That means you can walk into that shop with confidence and have an intelligent conversation with your mechanic. And that right there is incredibly powerful. So think about it this way. The next time any warning light pops up on your dash, don't just see it as a problem. See it for what it is. It's your car trying to talk to you, trying to communicate. And learning its language is the first, most important step. So, is your car trying to tell you something important? Yeah, it is. And now you're a whole lot better equipped to actually listen.